everyone. I've got Tammy Richie with me on the other line, and she's ready to get started and have a really great chat to us today about removing clutter in your life and how to get back in touch with yourself, especially with what's been going on in the world recently. Working on ourselves is such an important part of health, but even more so in recent times, I think, with the global pandemic. So I'd love to tap into how you can give us some really good tips on how to become the healthiest, happiest version of ourselves, Tammy. So before I get started, Tammy Richie is a friend of mine. We've done a lot of courses together, but Tammy, could you tell people a little bit about your expertise and what you're passionate about?
Most definitely, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having me on your show today. It's my pleasure to be here. Yeah, and basically what I try to do through my own experiences, I've been able to overcome a lot of obstacles. And I'm sure a lot of your viewers have had obstacles come their way. Now, nothing has meaning except the meaning you give to that obstacle. So you have a choice whether or not you see the thing happening to you or for you. So fortunately, I have got the glass half full attitude and seen the things that have happened for me. I've overcome a lot of things that most parents probably would never want to endure, including resuscitating my own little baby boy. And that's been the thing. I was so blessed to actually see him breathing again for the very first time after I did do that. That was the key to opening me up to seeing what is. For 17 years, I've been an engineer before that. Working on aircraft in my headspace, tuning into and discovering my little baby boy at that time and all the tips and tools that helped me successfully resuscitate him despite knowing CPR, are the things that tuned me into my heart. And since then, it's just gone from strength to strength to strength. So there's over multiple businesses, but it's all come from removing the clutter, getting over myself, getting rid of the banner of perfectionism and not feeling good enough, and just doing it anyway, and jumping into the unknown, overcoming the fear, and a lot of tips and tools that actually do help you see the vision as well.
I love that. And you know, getting into your heart space is something that we hear a lot about in personal development and from different health professionals as well. But tell me a little bit about resuscitating, because I know that you have a first aid course that you run for people. Was that the inspiration to actually get started with that? Because you're an entrepreneur, so there's heaps of stuff, but I'd like to just talk about that quickly first. That would have been quite a big experience to have to resuscitate your baby.
Yeah, well, Vanessa, you're a mum now yourself, as you really know the connection that you have.
Yeah.
And I was unpacking boxes. I was an engineer for 17 years, working on aircraft, where I met my wonderful husband. Fortunately, at that time, before that, as an engineer, I was studying full-time as a teacher as well, working full-time as an engineer, raising 2 girls and pregnant. Something had to give. So the day we moved into our new home and I was unpacking boxes, I had 12 months off almost on maternity leave, which is where the gift is. And you know the course, we've got Warrior, Enlightened Warrior, that you and I have both been part of. And there's also another course called Wizard, which I've been blessed to also do as well. And what you learn on the Wizard course is creating the space and seeing the magic that comes from creating that space. So during that 12 months when I was on maternity leave, I had space to meditate. I had space to finally do my rituals. I had space to work on me and implement all these things that I'd learned through personal development in a big way. And that was the gift that woke me up. So the day I was unpacking boxes, my little boy went missing. He was just 16 months of age. Instead of me just dismissing it because we had boxes absolutely everywhere and thinking he could have been playing in another room, there was something stronger than me, something way bigger than me that came into my heart that pushed me to not dismiss it, that allowed me to get out of my head, because my head was telling me maybe he's playing in another room. But my heart was like, get over yourself. It's not about you. You need to go looking right now. I was led to the swimming pool. However, I didn't want to go to the swimming pool, okay, because I thought, how could that happen? Because our pool is fenced. I heard no splash, no scream. So it caused me to go looking, and I went looking through room from room, box to box, and I couldn't find him anywhere, okay? So what I had to do was then I had to take the steps to the pool, and every parent's worst nightmare suddenly became my reality as I took steps closer and realized my little boy was floating and unconscious in my backyard pool.
Yeah.
Fully clothed, nappy on, shoes on, the whole bit. This is way before we met Vanessa. So during that time, I freaked out. I screamed for someone to come and help me. No one came. Okay, I had to jump into the pool, pull my little lifeless boy in my arms, and I knew I needed to make the phone call 000, but my phone wasn't connected. My husband was at Bunnings getting child locks to make sure our house was safe. I had this little boy lifeless in my arms. Everything that was meant to help me failed me. Yes, I was CPR trained because I was an engineer, but it was never, ever delivered in a way that I felt that I could feel confident using it. So all of a sudden, I've got these tools that I'm not confident about, and everything that I had that was meant to help me failed me. So I had to then stop for a moment. Another really powerful tip that your viewers really need to understand is the power of breathing. I was actually just listening to a podcast a moment ago as well, with the purpose of not just breathing for life, but breathing to actually get yourself into your heart space. It opens channels up. Psychologists have done studies with this, and it also puts you into a clinical place and helps remove the emotion. So that's what I did. At that moment, it naturally came to me. I stopped for a moment. I breathed deeply. I got over myself and realized that it is not about me. It's all about him. And if I don't do something right now, it does not need to be perfect. Just anything, he would not be with me. So I pulled myself together, lay him down, did CPR, and he started breathing on the second rotation, not the first rotation, but the second rotation. And that is the gift. You know, they talk about what comes after perturbation, massive success. The gift is he started breathing. The gift is that I was meant to be going back to engineering. The gift is that I was questioning every moment of why would I be going back to engineering at that point when I knew I'd be doing that until I retired. It no longer fulfilled me. I had to get over myself and realize this was a gift, and including the media that came to me, the Queensland government that came to me, all the things that came to me in that moment led me to go, get over yourself.
Yeah.
You need to jump into the unknown. You need to create a training academy with a difference. And so then it was immersion into personal development and all the personal development stuff that I put into that training, plus the stuff I learnt that day. And it's I've just won international business awards with that particular company. I've gone online as well, and I trained a lot of universities and stuff like that. But that was just the stepping stone or the key into what.
Absolutely. My gosh, I did find it hard not to cry just then for a few minutes and listen to that. But it sounds like it really expanded you as a person in every way, shape, and form. It's quite phenomenal what happens in people's lives sometimes. And I really hope people tune into this and can see that there's different tipping points for all of us. And sometimes it is something so serious like that. Sometimes it's not, but we all have different things in our lives that prompt us to question things and get into that heart space. So talking about creating space, I think it's so relevant right now in the current world environment. Can you give us a quick couple of tips on how you get yourself into that heart space, that space to clear the clutter and the head stuff that goes on in our brain all the time? What's 2 or 3 tools that you use today to get into a clearer space to help you de-stress and get away from stuff in your life?
I've used it every single day, probably my whole life. And yes, that was a major tragedy that I endured, but I also had a gift, I suppose, of overcoming tragedies because I had a really awful childhood. So I had to build strength and resilience. And the things that I was using back then, I still use to this very day. So there's nothing that will ever replace gratitude. Now, I know everyone talks about gratitude, but you know what? It doesn't need to be anything materialistic. It can be gratitude for the breath that we breathe, the air we breathe. It can be gratitude for the beautiful trees that we're blessed to have that brings the oxygen. Whatever it is for your viewers, it's waking up first thing in the morning before you actually turn your phone on, before you put your feet onto the floor, lying in bed, giving yourself permission to say it's okay to actually feel grateful. The next thing is, how often in life do we go through and we blame ourselves? You know, mother guilt?
Oh, yes, it's a real thing. I now know that.
Absolutely. And so what I've learned through that journey as well is the power of forgiveness. because as much as we try to be the best version of ourselves, we need to be reminded that we are human, and it's okay to sometimes step up and to do the wrong thing. And we need to actually realize the power of forgiveness. So if you're late for picking up your child, or if you're late for getting dinner on the table, you know what I mean? What is really important in this world, you know, they're insignificant small things. And people, you don't want to be remembered for your clean floors, for instance. You want to be remembered for the big impact that you've made in your life. So that's another thing as well. But there's a really powerful thing that I have done my whole life as well. And that is, you know, we're turning on the news right now. Not only are we going through COVID, but what else are we going through in this world right now? You know, like America, have they forgotten about COVID? Like, I mean, it's crazy. You know, there's all these riots and stuff going on now, and there's a lot of countries that are following them as well. But if you turn on the TV, we're faced with this negative stuff. And I'm an energy person. Energy totally affects me, so I recognize that as well. I'm sure a lot of your viewers feel the energy as well. So instead of actually turning on the TV and being drawn into that energy, why not fill your cup up with positive things, okay? And things about you. So not just positive affirmations are great, but what if you could personalize it even more and actually see yourself as though you're in a helicopter? You're flying over the top of your life, your timeline, and you're going to all those things. Now I go into 4 different emotions every single day, and I usually do this three incidents with each emotion. So, you know, as much time as you have is what you're going to give. So basically, I'll look over myself and I'll think the first time that I was ever really proud of myself. You know, like we often forget, like, and actually a lot of my clients, I run a lot of retreats and I run a lot of workshops, and they have to stop and think, hang on a minute, when was I proud of myself? And it doesn't need to be anything spectacular. It can be, oh my God, I was so proud of myself that I got out of bed and I actually pick my kid up on time, or whatever it is. It doesn't need to be anything perfect, okay? So we're looking over ourselves in those moments, and we're seeing, hearing, and feeling, so putting all of those emotions into there at that time. And then we can move on to happiness as well. And then we can move on to excited. Now, the excited can be something that we've been excited to do, or something that we've been through our life. I remember when I was a little girl, we'd go on holidays. We'd always watch a Wizard of Oz. You know, when I watched Wizard of Oz, it was like, oh my goodness, we're going on holidays. And the Wizard of Oz actually represents a lot of my life right now, me being Dorothy on the Yellow Brick Road. But going there and feeling that excitement as a child, and seeing, hearing, and feeling that. And what if I could put that into my day? You know, and then laughter is an important thing as well. When was the last time we had a barrel laugh at ourselves? I mean, you know, I'm always doing crazy things. And when did we get so serious as adults? You know, it's going back to those childlike things and implementing it, because remember, as children, they don't have the dramas we do. They don't have all the whatever's going on, because they're just like, you know, they're not educated on it. But what if we can go back to those things and be reminded of those things? And then when we're faced with these massive adversities or tragedies, or, you know, whatever's going on in our kids' life or our own life, you can actually then see and actually be able to send the energy to the outcome that you desire, rather than focusing on the thing that's happening to you, because it's actually happening for you to get you onto another path.
Fantastic. I've summed that up here as gratitude, forgiving yourself, and filling up your cup with positivity. And I love how you expanded on that to talk about how we can use emotions to get there. Because often we talk about, or we've heard about emotional intelligence and, you know, negative emotions or positive emotions, but more so just bringing a bit more awareness and consciousness to being proud, feeling proud. I actually wrote a blog on that recently. When was the last time you actually gave yourself a pat on the back for achieving something? And it could have just been making breakfast for the family on Sunday. That's fantastic. If that's what that is right now, that's phenomenal. If it was an award, that's also great. But giving acknowledgement to those little things through daily life, and especially now with people being isolated at the moment, that's so important. And then feeling happy and excited. Lincoln loves the Hulk. So he is absolutely, I'm the Hulk, I am happy, I am strong, I'm being the Hulk. And I'm like, that is so cool. What's my favorite? What did I used to love when I was younger? You know what? I love watching Frozen now that I'm watching that with my child, because it has beautiful musicals and songs in it. You know, and getting back to that kind of stuff I loved when I was younger, and dancing and music and theatre. So as adults, giving ourselves permission to have time to do that, is so important. And it sounds like you've got a really great way of letting yourself do that. I know you're really busy, but you seem like you've given yourself permission to get into that space and to enjoy those little things.
Absolutely, and it's reminders of that, as you were saying, watching your children, and actually you're learning, because our children, as the sacred covenant says, our children come to us for the lessons that we need to learn, and and they need to learn from us as well. So it's pretty amazing, and going back to the kid-like thing and being reminded of that, it's absolutely necessary for those things as well.
I love it. I love it. Tell us how else you remove clutter in your life to get so many things done in a day. Because that's the other thing. So we can get into this positive space, but actually being productive with children, with family. Give us some practical stuff. Like, do you have a schedule with your family? Do you, batch cook your meals? Let's talk about a few practical things like that.
No, actually, I just think that even having healthy food and everything like that available is quite easy to do. It really doesn't take any time at all. So yes, definitely have a time schedule. So I start my day off with my affirmations, and I go a lot deeper, and I do a lot more than what I've passed on to you just now as well. But the power of that is actually doing it every day, and also celebrating the wins as well. So that's my first part of the day. The next part of the day is fitness. Fitness is a big part, because and even I go back, and I actually broke my back many years ago, and I had to learn how to walk again, had major surgery. And during that time, they focused on energy and what energy is, and filling it with negative energies like I'm sore, I'm hurting, I can't get out of bed. You're telling yourself those things, you can't get out of bed, you can't do that. Whereas if you say, no, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and focus on where you want to go, more energy is going to come that way as well. So fitness, I'm so blessed that I can actually run, I can actually do fitness, because I came so close to losing it all. So fitness is a big part, because not only for the physical attributes, but also the mental capacity as well, because it's got all the endorphins and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So try to do those things as well. And I can't remember what was it the question that
Do you do anything else to make your life easy when you're busy? So like meal preps or scheduling, or time for your kids, time for you?
Yes, definitely always try to make time for me, because I don't believe that you can give from a cup that's not filled as well. How great do you feel when you go get your hair done or have a massage? I mean, these aren't things I do every day, but it might be a cup of coffee. Once I've actually achieved a task, I'll give myself that. Yes, and I do have children, and my children are now in uni, 2 of them, and 1 of them's in school. But we've had that crazy hectic time where, okay, now I'm a mum, so my business might not have grown as quickly during those times, but I'm there for those times, for those kids. And when the kids are in school, that's when I'll focus all of my work mainly around that time, after I've been to the gym, I'll catch up with the friends or something. And then, then it's cooking dinner, because as I said, I don't believe it takes that long to cook a nice healthy food, dinner for your family as well. We always have dinner time together, sitting at the table. That's a really big part of one of the rituals that we have as well. And then, so it all kind of flows. But if I do have deadlines, definitely when the kids are in bed, I might be working up all night. So I might not be watching as much TV and things like that. But I'm also during the day, if I'm driving around, listening to podcasts and personal development things. And it's all about filling the cup. Keep on putting in what you can put in there, so that what comes in comes out.
And that's really good point there too, what you mentioned, using your time wisely as well, to go, oh, well, I can't fit in my fitness and my affirmations and my, podcasts and whatever else. Well, when you're in the car, admittedly, a lot of us haven't been in the car for a few months, but having that time in the car or traveling, or when you wake up, just that 10 minutes or 15 minutes to listen and fill your mind with that positive stuff, rather than just the news and maybe, stuff that depletes you. That's a really good point too. Just finding little pinpoints. I'm trying to do that with 2 kids right now as well. When the baby's sleeping, I'm jumping and doing a bit of work, or, if I've got some inspiration, I quickly jot it down so then I can post it on Instagram later, or, schedule it in. So there's shortcuts, right, we can do to maintain healthy body, healthy mind. And that's what it's all about. Now I'd love to chat to you. Sorry, Tammy, go ahead.
Just on that, so with the fitness, and obviously we're in COVID at the moment, and the gyms haven't been open, and we could do things online and everything. I'm blessed to live on the beautiful Gold Coast, and like we live here, and there were so many things. There's been so many blessings in COVID. Even getting to the beach every day, taking my dog and doing my exercise at the beach, which is something that I hadn't done for a long time, because I'm in the gym,
Right.
And even getting on the push bikes as a family. We live in the beautiful hinterland, so we live in mountains, and we overlook the Gold Coast. Actually, we're so blessed where we live. But getting on the push bike was difficult, you know, because we think, oh my goodness, the bikes have been in the shed since we've been here. But COVID has pushed us to go, you know what, we've got the time, let's jump on the bikes. And oh my God, riding along the beach, this has been absolutely fabulous. So yeah, you can always try to not be so perfect, but just be where you are. And the beautiful word is be present, not
right
behind, not ahead, but now.
Yeah, now exactly. What can we do with ourselves, our time, and our family right now to just still be happy and healthy, right? Now, I do want to ask you one question, then we're going to go on to a little chat about Zanara. So you've met with a lot of great personal development leaders in the many, many years. Give me the best bit of information you've gotten from one of them. That's a hard question, I'm sure, but I'd love to hear it. I think you've met with Tony Robbins, you know, Blair Singer, you know, all those people, amazing people. Give us one little bit of insight and who you got it from.
Okay, so probably Tony Robbins, I would say. Like, I mean, I've been blessed to have Lisa Nichols as well, and T. Harv Eker, like tons of them. But Tony Robbins, because it was the most impactful thing, I think, that I actually picked up, to always find the beauty. You know, because even like he does interventions and he doesn't hold back, you know, like, and he's so different to T. Harv Eker, because when you're going through something and you're like in this victim mode, like even for me, being born into this world, I lost my identical twin, I lost my mum, my dad, everyone I knew at birth, and I all of a sudden was in hospital on my own until someone adopted me, and even that wasn't great, right? But, and not that I felt that I was being a victim, but during that time, it was like, I'm like, poor me, you know, like, you know, I'm this poor little girl that got adopted, blah, blah, blah. But hang on a minute, where's the beauty in that? You know what I mean? Things are always happening for you, because actually all the things that I've ever been through in my world, I've built up this strength and resilience from day one. Day one of entering this world, where I've not had anyone that I've ever known, apart from the nurses, in my world. So that's probably the most biggest tip I've ever actually really felt, was always, no matter what's going on, there's always the beauty. Things are always happening for us, never
That's
to
amazing.
us.
I love that. That is absolutely probably the best thing you could have said, I think, for everyone right now. And I know that you do have a lot of good little tidbits from everyone else, but that I think is above and beyond. Tell us now, you're working on a project. I've actually connected with you on this and some of our amazing colleagues as well, which is really exciting. Tell us about Zanara.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I've been through a lot of obstacles. My own health journey as well. I was sick for probably 8.5 years and on pretty heavy treatments, including my children's health as well. So there's been a lot of things that have happened in our world. And so we've had to be on the heavy treatments, but I've always supplemented and always exercised and always tried to focus on the best outcome. After 8.5 years, I holistically healed myself. So there were a lot of things that I used myself to regain my health, and a lot of the things we created as a result, okay? So I'm a speaker as well, and I do speak internationally. And when I'm speaking on a stage, I'm thinking, right, which product am I going to be talking about today? Because there's so many, you know, we have mosquito traps that attract female mosquitoes that eradicate and free up your backyard. We have defibrillators. I have Gumby, the list goes on and on and on. So I thought, right, 18 months ago, I thought it needs to be on a platform. And a lot of my clients were coming to me, and I was doing interventions on them as well, getting them out of their head, overcoming their fear. When they became unfulfilled in their careers, they would come to me, and then all of a sudden they're creating their products, you know. So I have all this access to all these wonderful products from people all around the world. And I thought, okay, what we need to do is create some kind of platform where they can all go, okay? So either ones that I've used, recommended, or other people that have come up with awesome, natural, healthy, and life-saving solutions for today's current problems. So that was my dream. That was my vision. I sent my energy to it every day and could see it as already done. However, I'm not technically minded. I'm not IT savvy. I'm certainly not online marketing. I'm good at what I do in terms of motivating, being a leader, and being a connections queen, because I know everyone. I spend the time building relationships. And that's a really big key and attribute to have.
Yeah.
So when I put it out there, I have a really good friend who's a mutual friend of ours, Samar, and he came to the Gold Coast and he wanted me to be his speaker on his platforms, delivering health in different countries, Malaysia, Singapore, countries like that. And so I agreed, but it was just before COVID. So when he came, I agreed, and I was saying to him, is it okay if I talk about this platform that I'm creating whilst I'm at this event? And he said yes, and his feedback was phenomenal. I'm like, my goodness. And, you know, Samara and I are really good friends. We're like brothers, sisters, and it's amazing anyway, the relationship that we have. The feedback that he was giving me on this platform, I just went, okay, Samara, can you be my partner with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't looking at the time, but it just happened. You know, you can see how synchronicities just happen, and life is always happening for us. So he said he wouldn't say yes to just anyone, but because it was me and he could see my vision, he said yes. And so since then, we've come together. Our attributes just work so cohesively together. We just are nailing it as warriors. We go above and beyond, and it's just, but it's not that it's happened so difficult. Everything has come effortless with grace and ease. So Zanara was formed. Zanara, the name for it is called God's Gifts as well. And we only started that, launched it on May the 1st. So we met just before COVID or just around COVID time. We're working really hard to make it all happen, to see how it all could happen and to see how the process would be and everything. And then it launched. And when it launched, it's been amazing. We have so many shops on there already. We have like 1.5 million customers, which are Australian based. It is a global company as well. So everything, so even though COVID is happening at the moment, we're not in other countries right now, apart from Australia, New Zealand and the USA. We've just advertised in America as well. Yep. But as the world opens up, we've got strategic alliances in all different countries, which will just boom, boom, boom. And it actually helps people like yourself with your incredible programs and other people with their incredible products to be expanding their reach in a big way, to come together collaboratively for a really small fee. To have that access, and all of those things that are waking up now because of COVID, because health is one of the most important gifts that we can have. They're realizing that, they're waking up and they're like, oh my goodness, we need to watch what goes on in and around our body, including what goes into our mind. And so this is available for them. So we're just giving them what they asked for. Even though it was my vision 18 months ago, COVID has been the biggest blessing at all, because there's been so many. And I think with COVID as well, I mean, there's been some terrible cases, but overall we've all come together to collaborate and to come back as community and to see, as you mentioned before, what's important and why were we so busy and when did we forget to do these things. So there's so many gifts that have come as a result, and Zanara is absolutely one of those gifts.
That's fantastic. I'll put a link up for people to visit that if they would like, but it's zanara.com, isn't it? Or is it the AU again? Just zanara.com. I'll add that to the end of this interview.
Yes, and we just decided on, because we did call it Organica to begin with, but Organica, we didn't want people to mistake that it is all organic products, because it is, there is a main product. And it was called, and we also wanted to start with the end in mind. So we wanted to be global from day dot. So a .com.au kind of had limitations. We wanted to go .com, so that's when we created Zanara. And Zanara actually, we created it first, and then the name came to us. And often when you, in terms of the meaning of it, after we created it, and it was just going to be a name like Adidas is for sporting goods. It didn't need to be health, like Zanara Health or whatever it is. It just needed to be a name. And then after we launched it, lots of people contacted me and said, oh my goodness, Bartlett, how did you come up with this name? You know what it means, right? And it was God's Gifts. So, you know, it's just
amazing.
Like, again, to us.
I love that.
Yeah. When you're in the right space, things come for you, to you. People seek you, and that's what's happening with Zanara right now.
Fantastic. And there's a whole lot of amazing holistic health products and programs on there from different experts around the world. So check it out and contact Tammy or myself if you need any more information on that. Tammy, it's been amazing chatting to you today. I think we could talk all day about different things, but this has been great to connect with you. And thank you everyone for joining us today. To get in touch with Tammy or myself about any of our products or programs, I'll put all the websites on this link as well, and join us on social media too. Thank you for your time today, Tammy, and I will be chatting with you soon.
And I just wanted to quickly just add, I don't know whether or not I did say that Zanara is online, so people can actually, what T. Harbecker actually said on a call recently with all of us warriors, he's such an amazing expert. He said, give people what they want. Right now, people are shopping online, so we're going to give them what they want. So that's another thing that, you know, it's delivered to your door as well.
Oh,
So,
I love it. Yep. It's taken the stress out of the face-to-face shopping, and we just can't do that. And the world's changed for permanently with online shopping. So it's great that people can access this online only. So that's, yeah, fantastic.
yeah, thank you so much for your time today, Vanessa. It's been absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy to have you on board with us with Zanara as well, to have all your products and everything on there as well in your programs, and working
Thank
with
you.
to put it out there to the world.
Thank you so much. It's great to help a lot more people now. So I will be chatting with you soon. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. Have an awesome day, everyone, and Tammy as well. Mwah.
Mwah. Thank you.
See you.